All right, let's dive into a place that's both fascinating and shrouded in mystery. Today, we're heading to Malaga, Spain to explore the Cortijo Jurado. Picture a grand estate, steeped in history and full of whispers and legends. Our main source for this deep dive is a Wikipedia article. So let's see what secrets we can uncover together about this intriguing place.
You know, what really gets me about the Cortijo Jurado is how it blends history, architecture, and folklore into something truly captivating, like a true enigma. It was built somewhere between 1830 and 1840.
Hold on, we don't even know the exact year it was built.
Nope, the exact year is unknown, which just adds to the mystery, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It definitely adds another layer of intrigue. So tell me, what was this grand estate originally used for? Was it just a really fancy farmhouse or what?
Not exactly. It was built as a recreation villa for the wealthy Heredia family, but it also served as a working farm at the same time.
Wow, so imagine lavish gatherings happening right alongside, like daily farm work. That's a fascinating glimpse into the social dynamics of that time.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of fascinating, the article mentions that the Cortijo Jurado has an eclectic architectural style.
Okay, break that down for me. Eclectic, huh? What makes it so unique?
Well, it's a mix of English neo-Gothic elements
Mhm.
with, and this is where it gets interesting, Nordic touches.
Nordic. That's not what I was expecting at all. Nordic in southern Spain. How does that even work? What would those Nordic touches look like in this context?
Think like steeply pitched roofs and intricate wood carvings, maybe even some decorative elements that might remind you of Viking ships, though the specifics are a bit scarce.
I see what you mean. It's like a cultural mashup you wouldn't normally expect to see.
Right. And it really makes you wonder about the Heredia family's taste and maybe even their connections to like wider European trends at the time.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle with some missing pieces. And that just makes us want to dig deeper and find out more. So the Heredia family built this amazing estate. But did they get to enjoy it for generations? Or did things take a bit of a turn?
Well, unfortunately, financial troubles forced them to sell the Cortijo in 1925 to the Larios family, and from there, it passed through a number of different owners.
So it wasn't always about whispers and ghost stories. It sounds like real people lived and worked within those walls, each owner contributing to the history of the Cortijo.
Absolutely. That human element is something we really can't forget as we dive into the legends and stories that surround this place. But before we get to that, let's talk about the layout of the Cortijo Jurado, because it's not your typical estate, is it?
What's so unusual about it? Fill me in. Is it like a haunted house maze? Or maybe like a mystery mansion full of secret passageways?
Well, first of all, the Cortijo Jurado is huge. It covers a massive 2,500 square meters, and it's structured around this central patio. But what's really intriguing is its kind of off-center interior, especially on the left side where the noble family's living quarters were. This asymmetry makes you think there was some deeper purpose behind the design.
Interesting. It sounds like a very deliberate choice to separate the spaces for the wealthy owners from the working areas of the farm. Another reminder of those social hierarchies that existed back then.
Exactly. And get this, there are some pretty fascinating details within this unique layout. For example, legend has it that the estate boasts a whopping 365 windows, one for every day of the year.
Wait, 365 windows? Okay, that can't just be a coincidence. Was that like some kind of architectural flex? Or maybe a nod to some deeper meaning or symbolism? What were they trying to say with that?
That's the big question, isn't it? Whether it was intentional or not, this little detail adds another layer to the mystery of the Cortijo Jurado. Almost as if the building itself is whispering secrets, daring us to figure them out.
All right, so we've covered the history, the unique architecture, the social dynamics. But let's be honest, the thing that really draws us to the Cortijo Jurado are the stories. The whispers about paranormal activity, unexplained occurrences. Those are the threads that really make this place captivating.
Oh, absolutely. The Cortijo Jurado has definitely become a hotspot for anyone looking for a taste of the supernatural. There are tons of claims out there about strange sounds, apparitions, even just a general unsettling feeling that hangs in the air.
Okay, give me some specifics. What are we talking about here? Like shadowy figures lurking in the hallways, or disembodied voices echoing through the empty rooms.
Okay, imagine this. You're exploring the estate, the sun is setting, and those 365 windows are casting these long, creepy shadows everywhere. Suddenly, you hear footsteps behind you, but when you turn around, there's nothing there.
Yeah, that would definitely freak me out.
Or you catch a glimpse of a figure in the distance just for a split second, but it vanishes before you can get a good look. Those are the kinds of stories that have been circulating for decades, fueled by people who swear they've experienced these things firsthand.
It's easy to get chills just thinking about it. But is there any actual evidence to back up these claims? Or are we just letting our imaginations run wild in a place that's already full of mystery?
Well, the Wikipedia article does mention some reports from mediums and paranormal investigators. They claim to have picked up on some supernatural activity in the Cortijo.
Interesting.
But we have to approach those stories with a healthy dose of skepticism. Not every creaking floorboard or random gust of wind is proof of a haunting.
You're right. It's important to balance our fascination with the unknown with a critical eye. But even if we put aside the paranormal claims for a moment, there are still some really interesting legends tied to the Cortijo. Like, what about the story of those missing girls? That's pretty unsettling.
Oh, yeah. Local folklore tells of young girls who vanished from the area back in the 19th century. And of course, rumors started swirling, linking these disappearances to the Cortijo. Some people whispered about dark rituals, maybe even something sinister happening under the cover of a wealthy family.
Whoa, that takes a dark turn. So are we talking about, like, a potential cover-up of something truly awful?
It's a chilling thought, for sure. The idea that something horrific could have happened in those very walls, and the truth has been buried by time. But it's important to remember there's no solid evidence to back up these claims. These stories mostly live in the world of folklore.
I see. Passed down through generations, until the truth gets lost somewhere along the way. But it makes you wonder how these stories start in the first place, right? How they grow and change over time. I mean, back then, before instant communication and all that, a single whisper could turn into a loud roar and shape how people viewed a place for generations to come.
Absolutely. And, those whispers have only been amplified in recent years with the rise of the internet, all those paranormal investigation shows. It's really blurred the lines between what's real and what's just for entertainment.
It's kind of a paradox, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we crave rational explanations for things, but at the same time, we're drawn to mysteries that just defy logic.
Exactly. And, the Cortijo Jurado isn't just about ghost stories and missing girls. There's also the tale of these hidden tunnels connecting it to the neighboring Cortijo de Colmenares, which is now a golf club. Imagine a whole network of secret passageways winding beneath the ground, linking these two estates together.
Secret tunnels. That sounds like something straight out of an adventure novel. What do you think they were used for? Escape routes? Smuggling? Or something even more top secret?
That's what makes it so intriguing, isn't it? There's no clear answer. It just fuels our imaginations. Were they used to transport goods discreetly? Did they help facilitate secret meetings or forbidden romances? Or maybe they served a darker purpose altogether.
It really is like peeling back the layers of history, only to find more questions than answers. So is there any historical record or physical evidence to back up the existence of these tunnels?
Sadly, no. Lots of anecdotal accounts and persistent rumors, but no concrete proof. So if these tunnels do exist, they're staying hidden for now, their secrets buried deep underground.
So another piece of the puzzle that might remain a mystery forever. But even with some parts of the Cortijo's history shrouded in speculation, it's important to remember that this place has a very real connection to tragedy as well.
Are you talking about the incident with that young man who fell into a well while exploring the Cortijo? That's definitely a stark reminder that even in places filled with legends and folklore, real dangers can still lurk.
Yeah, exactly. It's a sobering thought. Beneath all the mystery and intrigue, there's a very tangible reality. It's a good reminder that sometimes our curiosity can have unintended consequences. We can get so caught up in chasing the unknown that we forget about the very real risks that exist.
It's about finding a balance, isn't it? Between the allure of the unknown and the need to stay grounded in reality. To be respectful of the past, but also curious about what it might be hiding.
So as we go deeper into the Cortijo Jurado, how do we reconcile those two impulses? Our fascination with the unexplained and the need for critical thinking. How do we separate what's real from what's just a story?
Yeah, it's like we're trying to walk this fine line, On one side, there's this pull toward the unknown, that excitement of exploring things we can't quite explain. But at the same time, we have to stay grounded in reality, in the facts, acknowledging that not every mystery has some kind of supernatural answer.
It's tricky, and I think that's where media and popular culture come in. They play a huge role in all this. You know how many shows, movies, books are out there that totally capitalize on our love of the paranormal?
Oh, tons.
And they often present these things as if they're true, blurring the lines between what's entertaining and what's actually factual. It's easy to get caught up in all the sensationalism and forget to, Think critically about what we're consuming. Right? It's like they're feeding our craving for the extraordinary. This idea that maybe, just maybe, the impossible could actually be possible. But then again, isn't that part of what makes the Cortijo Jurado so fascinating?
Yeah.
It's this blank slate where we can project our hopes and fears, that fascination with the unknown that I think we all have.
I totally agree. And it's precisely because of that blank slate that it's so important to look at these stories with a critical eye. We can totally embrace the mystery, but we should also be asking ourselves, what evidence is there to support these claims? And are there any other possible explanations that we might be overlooking?
It's almost like we're being challenged to become historians and investigators, even storytellers, all at the same time. We have to sift through all these layers of myth and reality, weigh the evidence, and then decide for ourselves what rings true.
And that process, I think, is what leads us to a deeper, more nuanced understanding of places like the Cortijo Jurado. We can appreciate the power of these stories, the intrigue of the legends, without having to sacrifice our own sense of truth and accuracy.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into the Cortijo Jurado, what's the one big takeaway you'd like our listeners to walk away with? What's the one thing you really hope they remember after they finish listening?
To me, the most important thing to remember is that the Cortijo Jurado is much more than just a collection of spooky stories or a place to go ghost hunting. It's a real, tangible connection to the past, a place where history, architecture, and folklore all come together. It's like this captivating enigma.
I like that, a captivating enigma. It really captures the essence of this place. It's a great reminder that there are still mysteries out there waiting to be explored, stories waiting to be uncovered.
Right. And even if we never uncover the full truth behind these legends, that feeling of wonder, that lingering question mark, is part of what keeps us coming back for more. It reminds us that sometimes the best stories are the ones that don't give us all the answers.
Exactly. So to all our listeners out there, we encourage you to continue exploring on your own. Delve deeper into the history of the Cortijo Jurado, examine the evidence for yourselves, and draw your own conclusions. You never know, you might just uncover a piece of the puzzle that everyone else has missed.
And remember, whether you're exploring a historical site, reading a good book, or listening to a podcast like this one, it's always important to approach information